The storm facing the outgoing Speaker of Parliament, Anita Annet Among, has continued to gather strength. Those she directly and indirectly tormented are grasping the opportunity to speak out amidst a conspicuous silence from the army of her supporters who would stop at nothing to deal with those they deemed unfriendly. The outgoing Minister of State for Regional Cooperation, John Mulimba, is the latest to join a string of those celebrating Among's fate. Mulimba disclaimed that it was inappropriate for him to publicly comment on the subject before.
I'm not here to discharge my opinion as a minister. Of course, you are aware, cabinet lapsed. I'm here to discharge my views as a Ugandan national who is obligated under Article 15, under Article 17 of the Constitution to cooperate with authorities of Uganda in the fight against corruption.
He says that the environment under Among's parliament had become unbearable for debate and risky as anyone who dared to speak out was harassed and intimidated.
That parliament was no longer a place for debating. It was a place for one person to abuse anybody at will. You remember how somebody shut down the constitutionally mandated advocate of government.
He adds a voice to the claim that corruption in parliament was over the roof.
Uganda government loses up to 10 trillion through corruption. We have not cleverly dissected how much we lose through corruption in one institution called parliament, but I think about 40% of that 40 trillion, of that 10 trillion, could be lost in parliament.
Tongues are wagging about how Among has, in a short period of time, established mansions of residences comparable to five-star hotels in upscale areas, owns a fleet of expensive motor vehicles, with the latest being the 3.4 billion shillings Rolls-Royce Cullinan, which appears to have triggered the raids at her residences. These accumulated resources are believed to have been used to oil the machinery that dealt with those who dared to speak about the corruption in Parliament.
The video manipulating change in per diem without going through the due process from $900 per diem to 4,000, up to forging outings that have gone to Nairobi, you're in Kampala, and then you authorize. But of course, also questions would be asked. We have an accounting officer in that institution of Parliament.
Fears are that the resources were used to trap the state institutions which are responsible for fighting graft.
People have become very entrenched and bad-mannered. Those of you who have been following Parliament. Because somebody has accumulated a lot of wealth and can compromise all security organs, can compromise other duty bearers, even compromise and abuse the rules of procedure of Parliament.
In the wake of the 2025 March to Parliament protest,
Must go! Anita must go! Corruption must go!
The Inspectorate of Government was presented with a plethora of petitions to investigate the corruption at Parliament. President Museveni had also tasked the Inspectorate to investigate whether Anita Among had declared, in accordance with the Leadership Code Act, the possession of a mansion in the United Kingdom. Speaker Among denied owning anything in the UK.
Unfortunately, I've only been in UK once. I don't even have a postcard in UK.
The Inspectorate of Government gave Among a clean bill of health about the UK property. However, the Inspectorate declined to delve into other petitions because the Auditor General was conducting similar investigations.
Since 2025, maybe the then IGG, I suspect, either since these are people who have accumulated a lot of wealth and they were doing it with impunity, could have been compromised or intimidated, but I don't think being intimidated. Maybe could have been compromised. And up to now, when the president again has swung in action, nothing was done by that institution.
Mulimba welcomed the involvement of the Uganda People's Defense Forces in the corruption fight.
Why is the fundamental doing this? Why the army? No. Number one, extraordinary circumstances require extraordinary solutions. Secondly, it is a duty, constitutional duty of the UPDF to protect the national wealth.
He called on the UPDF to cast wide the net of fighting corruption. Sections fear that the cleanup at Parliament could be another show without a logical conclusion. Numerous examples are cited, among them that of the case of the 3 MPs who were arrested over tinkering with the national budget. Despite being arraigned in court, The corruption charges against Sise Namuju, Poa Kamba and Yusuf Mutembuli were dropped by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
It is not just enough to come up and do what is we're seeing being done, you know, cordoning off premises, picking the assets, and showing in the paper how much investigations. I think we'd like to see tangible outcomes.
President Museveni admitted at a recent retreat of the NRM MPs in Chankwanzi to having forgiven the trio after they had apologized. The UPDF and the police have yet to issue an official statement about the investigations, despite Kainerugaba posting on X that the raids have to do with Operation Maliza Ufisadi, the Swahili phrase loosely translated to mean ridding corruption. Jackson Onyango, NTV.